Hey, welcome into Purple Daily. I'm Phil Mackey, Judd Zolgad, Declan Goff, and today we ask why the NFL is going to table two potential, in my mind anyways, amazing rule changes or guideline changes. I'm going to read something here from our friend Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. There was a pair of proposals to add an eighth official with access to video and the ability to communicate with on-field officials this season, but neither of them is going to be adopted in a vote of NFL team owners. So essentially, the NFL is going to adopt the XFL's eye in the sky judge, put a referee up in the press box or whatever. And like the next step would be put a camera and a mic on that person, just like the XFL did. That would be amazing. I don't know if the NFL talked about that, but to just have somebody up there watching the game on a screen like all of us do, so that if something happens, they can just be in communication with the officials on the field. And the other one was replacing onside kicks with a 4th and 15 from your own 25-yard line, which, again, like this idea was clearly stolen from me and Chris Long, our friend from
not from
Vince
News. McMahon in the XFL.
No, because we came up with it like 5 years ago. But the onside kick, it only really benefits the team that's trying to get the ball back like 8 to 10% of the time. So instead, run a 4th and 15 from your own 25. If you get it, you get the ball at the 40-yard line or going forward. I love both of these things. They both seem very logical. I don't understand why the NFL was so quick last year to say, oh, pass interference, we're going to review it.
Yep.
And it's like that has scared them off from adding new things that do make sense. So I'm baffled by this.
Can we start with the second one, the onside kick decision, or not to allow a 4th and 15 instead of an attempted onside kick? And the onside kick is very much dead because of rules now, which are based on safety, which is fine, but then find a way for a team that is down late in the game to make it more exciting. The officiating thing, I think we can get into the sort of the nuanced discussion of where that might be going. And as you just said, Phil, the PI attempt, that was just a colossal embarrassment and failure. But the onside kick and the alternative of giving a team a 4th and 15 to me is such a slam dunk. 2020 fans like to see it. Is it completely fair? I don't know. But guess what else? I don't care.
Yeah.
And you are looking for entertainment. This is what your league is based on. Are you entertaining? And the reality is now, because of changes in the onside kick rule, and again, to go back to, it's about safety. It is damn near possible if you are down late in a game and score and need more points to recover the onside kick. It just doesn't happen now. And you saw this from the XFL, and to go back to you and Chris Long, your idea years ago. And you had this easy, you know what? Let's try it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great. Are some coaches going to be pissed off? Probably. I don't care again. Why you wouldn't pass this immediately is beyond me.
Yeah, let's get to the heart of this discussion too about the 4th and 15, which is, do we want teams that are trailing late in NFL games? Think for the purposes of this show, if the Vikings are down by 10 points with 45 seconds left and they're driving down the field, they at least want to kick a field goal just to extend the game if they can, score a touchdown. But let's say you're driving down the field, you got one timeout left, there's 45 seconds left, you're in field goal range. All right, let's bring Dan Bailey out here with 45 seconds left, and let's make it a 7-point game. All right, under the rules that we have grown accustomed to here, which is you kick a field goal and you have a chance to get an onside kick, like there's no hope as a fan, right?
Right.
Has anyone ever felt good about, all right, if you can just get the onside kick back, you're going to feel great. Like it's a doom and gloom feeling for every fan, for every team.
Mm-hmm.
And 4th and 15 should also feel doom and gloom because you're pretty much screwed on 4th and 15 too, especially when the defensive ends know that they can just pin their ears and tee off on your quarterback. But I think just like in terms of how I would feel watching a game, either on the sidelines or as a fan, it gives you more hope, and I think it makes it more fun. The NBA gives teams hope by, if you call a timeout, you get to advance the ball to half court and then just get a closer look with a second left. And I love it.
And what's this league now built on, based upon? Your quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this puts the ball in the hands of the guy that you either love or despise, and it's fun with both ways. So do you really want to have no chance to come back and win a game late off, by the way, your kicker's foot? Like, okay, we have long ago decided, and I have no problem with this. The quarterbacks are going to be the marquee players. And they are now probably, I think you could argue this a little bit, but I think they're probably the most important position in sports, period.
Mm-hmm.
4th and 15 puts the ball in their hands. It's unbelievably exciting. And if you've got a good one, Mahomes, guess what? Deshaun Watson, you might get it. That's awesome. So to table this after you stole the idea from you guys and then the XFL, I don't get one bit. I don't get the downslide. Like what's the argument here of, well, we can't have that because we've got a system now that gives a team that downlight no chance at all.
I think it's a rhetorical question for me because I agree. Like there is no downside. And if you don't like the rule, just go back to kicking onside kicks. But maybe they're just a little bit worried and shell shocked based on how much the pass interference review blew up in their faces. And by the way, it blew up in their faces because the officials just didn't use it properly last year.
Right.
There were instances, and the Vikings were victim to one early in the season. Was it the Packers game where
they were
Dalvin Cook got called for offensive pass interference? It's like
for a pick play, which I think then by about week 6 they sort of said, let's not call that anymore.
Right. So
this is a rule. But this is a rule that features the ability to put the ball in the quarterback's hands. Yeah. What's the downside?
What about the other one? So again, what's the downside of, especially in 2020, when millions of Americans are watching games on these ridiculous 4K picture quality TCL TVs, our Score North Studio sponsor? Like, what is the downside of having somebody? In fact, I wouldn't even say what's the downside. What's the holdup in having someone who sits up there as an added official on your staff who just has some sort of, earpiece and microphone connection down to the head official that says, hey, there was a major hold that you guys missed. They're going to show
pass interference.
They're going to show the replay a million times on this Sunday Night Football broadcast. Like, millions of fans are going to see it. And so I think it makes sense. But the question I think for people on the other side would be, all right, well, how much are you holding up games? Like, is this person going to be finding something on every play? Mm-hmm. Where do we draw those lines? And those are legit discussions. But I think in 2020, the ship has sort of sailed on not using technology at your disposal.
So I think at first blush, the answer to your question of why not to do the eye in the sky idea comes down to the PI rule didn't work. The league itself is scared to make changes now because that was a failure and to go down that path. I think that's at first blush. I think the reality is this: expenses. I really do. Because one is this position is coming eventually. Like there's no way that you can go in 2030. We still don't have it. But to your point, fans are watching games on TV for how long in HD then, and they see a play-by-play, a litany of your missed calls and mistakes. I think right now, though, because the eye in the sky person would be, probably a decently paid official type, that it's a combination of they don't know how to do it, but that could be cleared up really quickly. And more importantly, finances. And the scary thing is it's $1 billion league. It makes no sense. But I do buy into the fact that there's, concern about adding jobs now, which they shouldn't be concerned about. But there's no question in my mind, this position in some way with some title is coming.
Here's my proposal.
All right.
Ed Hockley in an Under Armour sleeveless. Side view. What do you guys think?
He'd talk constantly.
That's the best part. It's entertainment.
He would talk absolutely constantly. If you're okay with that, that's fine.
I'd say.
Can you imagine the explanations from Ed in the press box? I'll explain this one.
Yeah. Why has Ed not? We've had some major whiffs. Like Fox has Mike Pereira, and who's the other one? Dean Blandino,
who was the head of officials too.
So Fox has like the two best media.
Gene Startori, right?
He's pretty bad though.
Is on CBS.
Yeah. Jerry, what's his name on ESPN?
Bright. Jerry Markbright, right?
Is that who it is?
I think it's him, and he's not that great.
But I feel like
I think Gene's okay.
The demand for former officials who can speak coherently and entertainingly.
Ed Hockley had to be approached, right?
I'm sure he was.
He had to have turned it down. There's no way that Ed wouldn't be, because those biceps and him explaining calls in depth for 3 hours.
Dude, he's made for
It'd be great for a couple of times. It'd probably get old after a while.
All of a sudden, he's just shirtless on ESPN.
That man was chiseled. He could kick some crap out of people if he wanted.
So I don't know. It makes sense to us. Maybe the NFL is just a little bit.
Which one do you think
shell-shocked.
gets passed first?
Eye in the
4th
sky.
and 15 or eye in the sky?
I think eye in the sky does. I mean, they've already eye in the sky is not fundamentally changing anything about your game. So that is another thing on the 4th and 15. They could say, well, I mean, it is a fundamental change to what we're doing. And
I'd make a case you want that change.
It's also another step in eliminating the kickoff.
Right, but you fundamentally changed the game
Mhm.
the day that you changed the kickoff rules.
Yeah. And just, again, I just want to go back to this again. All right, the Vikings or any other team, you're down by 10 with 45 seconds left.
Sure.
You feel like you still have a chance, especially if you have Pat Mahomes or like Lamar Jackson. How many times has that dude just ripped off a 15-yard run? Can you imagine, even on the other side, if you're a fan, like just the emotions that you'd be feeling of, all right, my team's up by 10 points right now, but if they kick a field goal here,
yeah,
and now Lamar Jackson has the ball and it's 4th and 15, and all he has to do is just like find a seam and convert a first down. Like it just makes the end of games so much fun.
I love it. I almost guarantee you Zim hated it. I almost guarantee that. This isn't how we play football, and I'm a defensive guy.
But there's no way he hates kickers too, though. So
right, but it's giving the ball to quarterbacks who he's constantly trying to stop.
You know what Zim would like to have? Instead of his offense getting onside kick is gone. Instead of the offense getting the ball 4th and 15, his defense goes on the field and has to stop a 4th and 2.
Easily.
I love it.
100%.
Wouldn't he rather have that?
I love it.
Yes.
At his own 25-yard line.
100%.
All right, send him out. Why don't they give you the option?
You try and run up the A gap against Michael Pierce.
They should give you the option. You can either have your offense go for it on 4th and 15, or your defense has to stop a 4th and 2, and you get the ball back.
You know what?
I'm a visionary.
A year from now, we're going to see that proposal, and you're going to be pissed off again.
All right, that is proprietary, copywritten.
You tried that with Long in the last one. They laughed at you.
I think Long and I came up with 4th and 18. I think we were trying to figure out like how do you match the percentage of time that an onside kick is successful and the percentage like of the 4th and whatever.
What if the league went back to per game 4 high risk plays, in which concussions are possible?
Like high risk play meaning
old school onside kick.
Oh, so they just
high risk
okay
play.
With them.
So then you'd be like, well, I hope my guys don't get hurt, but it's a high risk play.
And it's if you want to sacrifice your starting
and then
players
you don't
on the high risk play,
that's what I was going to say. Do you put Thielen out there or on the hands team? Do you possibly not put him out there? High risk play.
That's when Andrew Sendejo becomes much more valuable.
You think the National Football League really, really cares that much? They love this idea.
That's a wrap on this episode of Purple Daily. Thanks for hanging out with us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/scorenorth, and hit us up with your thoughts in the comment section. We'll see you next time.